every 5 weeks I had to churn out 30 pages. If there's a deadline, I'll find a way to get something done.
How many screenwriting groups have you been a part of?
I've been a part of one official screenwriting group.
And are you currently in one? No.
I'm not, no, not at the moment.
Oh, okay. Now you were, I believe, part of something called Deadline Junkies.
Yes.
And I'm curious to hear more about it. It sounds fascinating from the little bits you've told me, but is being in a screenwriting group very similar to having like a second family?
In some cases, yes. The people from that group, I was in that group from 2018 until 2021. It's actually the time that I kind of completed the screenplay or got to a point where I was ready to, I felt really good about getting it out there. And I said, all right, I have to now make this movie. And so funding was going to start. And that's where I couldn't concentrate on writing. I kind of had to focus on like producing and getting this made and then directing as well. But the people I met in that group, aside from just being talented writers and great people, there's like a mutual understanding of, first of all, I think all writers do it. Like people are writing and writing is difficult and there's so much that gets written that never sees the light of day. And it can be a struggle at times and there's writer's block and there's struggle for motivation. And when you're with other people who, you know, are going through the same thing and then we are workshopping our scripts with each other and our scripts say a little bit about who we are as people a little, and then after, you know, we all meet up and we, you know, there's 3 scripts a night and after the actors who read the scripts, you know, do their great job, we all go, you know, down the street to a bar or something or to a restaurant. And these are people who I just like really trust. And a lot of them are people who helped get this movie off the ground in their motivation for me. They're like, Greg, you got to do this. And, you know, this is like, it's so funny and it's getting the feedback from them. And I'm still very close to a lot of them. Like you'll see in the special thanks in the movie, like Deadline Junkies is in there, but as is a lot of people in that group who gave feedback throughout all the different stages of the movie, from the early drafts of the script to rough cuts to, you know, essentially the finished product.
Very cool, yeah. I went to their website and it looks like a fun group and it looks like just a great way to just really hear your words that are on the page come to life with these actors.
Yeah.
So that's really neat. What are the benefits of a screenwriting group?
In the case of Deadline Junkies, knowing that every 5 weeks I had to churn out 30 pages, if there's a deadline, I'll find a way to get something done. And I appreciated that motivation. I wish I didn't always need a deadline to feel motivated. And that's true, there's times where I don't need that deadline, but I would say like another just real benefit of the group is just getting that direct feedback and honesty and knowing that nothing is personal. And, you know, it's people from all ages, all races. It was a very diverse group. And so getting that feedback too is really, you know, invaluable.
Right. I saw something where it kind of said like we need people to keep their commitment. They didn't really say that exactly, but it's not the thing where you can just be like, yeah, I'm going to pop in today. They need that you're going to be committed to it. And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, it forces you to show up. It's like what it is. And it's like if you're in this, you're committed and you're really in it, and you're in the trenches, and every week you're, you know, this is initially when I was there, you're required to, you know, give the feedback and, you know, you show up for others and others are going to show up for you. I think that was like a really important element of why I think that group worked, and that worked for me. But then it got to the point where I found myself writing just to write for the deadline and not really, like, because I had to get those 30 pages out because I can't not have anything for this group. And I found that when that was starting to happen, that I had to reevaluate in my role within the group, specifically writing, when I wanted to focus on Don't Tell Larry, which at the time was pretty much a completed script.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you had sort of transitioned to now a producer role. That
Right.
makes sense. But I mean, in LA, it is hard to commit to things, whether it's a friend's screening, you want to go, it's hard to make it in this town, and
Yeah.
it's going to be 2 hours in traffic, and if you have work commitments or whatever. So yeah, I just thought that was fascinating that they needed you to sort of be accountable. I thought that was interesting.
And there was a little bit of financial commitment where we rented out a theater, so you actually paid dues.
Right.
And then also, that acted as some good motivation too.
Sure, yeah. Oh, very cool. How often are you reading material, when you were in the group, how often were you reading material from others at the meeting?
So each week there would be 3 different sets of scripts, each one, around 30 pages or so. And it wasn't actually reading as much as it was sitting there in a small theater listening to what's happening. Very rarely were scripts handed out.
And sorry, these are being acted out by actors?
Yes. Actors are doing cold
Great.
reads. Yeah.
So it's not just like the screenwriter who wrote it reading their script, they're having actors.
Correct. The screenwriter who wrote the script is sitting in the audience listening to actors, wonderful actors from all around LA, come in, and essentially they're getting the script for the first time and they're doing a cold read.
Awesome.
But these actors are so talented, and for them it's a great exercise to, flex their talents and to hone their skills too. And the other thing that we started noticing that happening in the group is that some people were bringing the same projects over and over because it's different elements of the project. So now there is a fun kind of marriage between the actors and the material where a lot of the actors are now coming back to play the characters again, and they're getting excited by who the character is. And you see as the script's getting better, so is the actors and how they're working on the script.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so the actors are also part of the group, or they're just called in on an as-needed basis?
They're called in as an as-needed basis. Now, the group that I was in it's been on Zoom, which is a little tougher. So it's tougher in that it's tougher to get that feedback, that direct feedback on what's funny and what's not, because it's mute. Usually a lot of people are muted so that you can hear the actors speak. But
so the actors they're sort of just called in
right.
When there's a part for them to play.
Right. And if they're available, and if they're not, they're not.
How fun. What is the sandwich method?
The sandwich method. Something that I think in Deadline Junkies they wanted us to adhere to, essentially. It's giving constructive feedback, but still having I'd say a positive tone where, if you want to start with somewhat of a compliment and end with somewhat of a compliment. But at the same time, some people can be kind of mean with their notes and really harsh. And there were a few cases of that. There's ways in which you can present that. I think that even if you have a note and you really don't like something, you can still find a more polite way to say it. But if you are going to say that, don't let that be the first thing you say, and don't let that be the last thing you say. And try to also be constructive and think about, well, is there something that is working? So I guess I don't know the exact definition, but I kind of view that as a kinder note followed by, a series of things that weren't working for you, followed by, ending it on an opportunity to how to maybe correct some of the issues that were in the middle of that sandwich.
Right. Well, there's a sense of hope instead of just shutting it down. There's definitely ways to give feedback that sometimes work.
Yeah, it's really hard to be put down, and then if you're going to get criticized on a note, to then not be given a potential solution, or just be like, this is bad, as opposed to, this wasn't really working for me because X, Y, Z. There's such a difference.
Right. Or I would love to see.
Yes.
That gives a glimmer of hope, But yeah, some people pride themselves on being no filtered, and maybe it's a regional thing or just a style of theirs, and it can hurt people, and there's a way to do it. How do you feel about giving notes to other screenwriters?
I generally try to be very optimistic. I think for that reason, I don't want the screenwriter to feel shut down. I think that there's I don't know who benefits by that. Now, even if there's something I don't like in a screenplay, or I think there's a lot of work, I want to get back with reasons why something wasn't working for me, offering a potential, even though it's not my place to offer a solution, but a lot of times if I'm getting a script for notes, they're asking, I'm being told that there's a certain element that's not working, or let me know what's not working for you. And so when I can identify what maybe some of those moments are, I want to be able to think on it and give a reason as to why it's not working and not just make the statement, but try to help the person who's getting the note to, work through a solution.
Sure, and there's sort of a danger too in being just too man, keep going, it's awesome, blowing smoke is very there's a lot of that here in LA, and you don't want to offend anyone because you might be working on a project with them later, and you don't want them to have a negative feeling. But yeah, there is a way to be kind, I think, and deliver a little criticism.
Yeah, and there's a total difference between that. And I would rather someone say, I didn't like this because this, as opposed to, this was amazing. I would rather someone give me notes on how to make it better. Because when someone says, yeah, that was great, that doesn't help me if I'm looking for notes.
Right. Now, if it's like you're at the end of the screening or something, you know that's one thing. But
That's different, yeah.
If you're at a place where this is an agreed safe space to give notes, then
Yes.
yeah. Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. Here is a complimentary question from our book Story Questions.